Let's do it. What are we doing?
We're doing it.
We're doing it? What kind of, like, it?
In your head, lock the doors and close the blinds. Turn on your TV, turn off your mind.
Welcome. Welcome back, everybody. This is Soul of a Gamer. I am Scott Nell.
And I'm Steve McGee.
And every week we come at you with a game we like to play, and then we tell you about it and have a very poor description, and a very poor review, and a very, very poor outlook. It's a very poor podcast when you really think about it.
Especially on this side.
I don't know. It's all on this side.
Oh my gosh, dude, we're wearing white and black like the colors of the...
Oh, nice. Yeah. So...
Not planned.
So last week's game, we hope you enjoyed it. That was...
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, we kind of okayed that game. That was not that fun.
No, it really wasn't.
But we're coming at you with a game we've never tried before, a racing game.
Yes.
Split Second.
Yes. This is a Disney Interactive Studio game that came out in 2010.
By apparent Black Rock Studio. I've never heard of them.
I haven't either, but they're also Havoc worked on them. Havoc's worked on a lot of like games around that time.
Oh, gotcha.
On the 360 and stuff.
Yeah. So this is a Mario Kart-ish racing game.
It's Mario Kart meets Burnout.
Yeah, like it's more like Mario Kart though, because
it definitely is.
Powers are what make this Mario.
But the driving style is more Burnout.
Oh yeah, you're never gonna get another Mario Kart.
No,
Diddy Kong Racing is the closest you're getting there.
Yes, I love that one so much.
All right, so let's just get right into this then.
What's on the box?
You want to read the box?
Sure, I'll do it with epic music.
Do it.
When speed is not enough, a dynamic new TV show on a global stage. A city created for speed and destruction. Join the race, trigger the action, crush your competition. Split Second.
Up to 8-person online multiplayer or 2-player split screen.
Change routes, orbit shortcuts, and make every lap different.
Yeah. And that actually was a cool thing we'll get into with gameplay. That you could change the maps kind of like in the newish Mortal Kombat, the newest fighting games. You could like punch someone through the map so you're on a different screen in the map.
Injustice does this, Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
I think Dead or Alive was the first one to do that, but it's the breaking of the map to open up new areas of the map.
So yeah, that's the box. I'm gonna give that box an F. That wasn't that good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty straightforward and to the point, though.
It's to the point, but I like fun. I like fun on the back of the boxes. I like lies on the back of the box. Race in a competitive game where you will definitely win. I like the honesty. All right, so we're moving on to...
Are we jamming?
Again,
Moderately.
I think Night Trap has ruined games for me because I just want every game to have a fucking theme.
You're gonna bring this up in every episode.
I know, because I feel like that's important. Because like the two games where we've had themes in them, Night Trap and Portal, fucking amazing, right? Those were so much fun. The music.
So you
is
like
fun.
games that only have one song?
Well, so there's background music still in the games.
I know.
There's dialogue and stuff, but the songs are really cool. Like people who write songs for games are really cool. But this game, again, it's just like this epic action music in the background, constantly going off. When you're getting close to a racer, the music intensifies. When you're kind of far away, it's not as intense.
Yeah.
When like an explosion happens, it gets intense.
See, I like the sound effects a lot in this game. The sound effects I thought were really good. The car sounds were
sound
good.
Effects
the explosions were really good.
Just I wanted an epic song at the end of the game, I think.
So that's what it is for you.
I
You
think
need
I
that
need-
epic end song.
especially for this game. This game would have been great for it because this had a lot of promise. This is a big action movie kind of thing, and the whole premise of the game is like around an action TV show. So it would have been smart to have like a opening theme or something.
Well, and I mean, I did like how like before each. I already fed her. Sorry, I'll cut that out. So where were we?
you did like.
I did like that they actually had like openings to each episode.
Yeah.
Like upcoming on this episode.
Although I hated like the It's that whole, on the next episode. And unless you're waiting like 3 days to play, I don't know why you need that. You're getting the intro as soon as you go to the next race.
I did hate that it doubled the intro.
Yeah,
because
it's
it like
weird.
showed you what was happening next, and then it showed you when you started.
It showed you a preview of it, which was shorter, but still, it was like there's no point to the preview.
And
but they tried to make it like a TV show. I think that was all semantic kind of thing. But
they cut it to hell too. Like there was way too much cutting.
Yeah.
Like I wish it was just more like actual like action scenes they showed, because there's some crazy, awesome, cool action shots in this game.
Yeah. So I mean, the music is pretty basic. The sounds are really good. The cars revving, the skidding from the drifting, the crashing, the explosions are insane. They're all over the place. And we're getting into my favorite segment for this fucking game.
How does it play?
Shitty.
It's
shitty.
Yeah, I'd say moderate.
Shitty.
I say moderate.
Shitty. No, super shit. So the biggest thing I fucking hated, and like this is an annoying thing that some racing games do, and it's the dumbest fucking concept in the world. If I blow up a car, do not slow-mo me and show me the fucking explosion, because I crash into stuff because it doesn't auto-drift you.
Yeah, sometimes it was decent where it would auto drive, but other times it would make you wreck.
Smash into fucking walls, and I'm like, why? Why did I need to see the explosion that close? I don't fucking care.
And I only did the because there's an instant replay on some of the better crashes that you get on people. That was like, it would take so long, and your car would be driving the entire time. It wouldn't pause. Your car would still be driving. So I'm just like, this is so dumb.
The dumbest concept in the game was adding a slow-mo for that fucking shit. And it's so annoying, because I can't tell you how frustrating when you're trying to like thread the needle.
Yeah.
Like there's a map where there's 2 grates on each side and a middle grate, and you have to go through the middle one because the 2 on the sides can be closed with an action button. So I'm trying to go through the middle one, threading that needle, which is very fine in a really fast-paced game like that.
Yeah.
And I'd get a wreck on my right and immediately show me the fucking wreck, and I'm like, well, fuck me.
And I stopped using those gates just because of that.
Yeah,
like there was other spots that I thought were better for explosions, but that one kind of sucked for trying to do explosions in that spot.
The most annoying shit in that regard, the way the racings were, we talked about this, the cars develop with you.
Yes.
So there's never like, and this is the weird part too. So there's always like the Mario Kart feeling. The top 3 are pretty much always the same.
Yeah.
Right? And the bottom 3 are always the same.
Yeah.
But they're never that far away.
Yeah.
Like you'd think the bottom 3 are just racing poorly, but they're always within like 1 second of first place.
It's so crazy sometimes, because like the thing that me and Scott complained about the most is you would trigger an explosion on someone, and you would pass them, and only them. They would immediately trigger an explosion back on you, and you'd fall back 5-6 places.
Yeah, and also that same person, after you trigger the explosion, they'd explode. They'd be right on your ass right away.
Where it takes you forever to catch back up.
Your spawn times are more than their spawn times.
Yeah.
And sorry, we should explain this. So in this game, you have this action ability.
Yes.
You can activate the action by drifting. You get like a power gauge.
Drafting, passing someone sometimes, doing airtime,
surviving an explosion.
Yeah, close calls.
Yep.
Airtime.
Yep. There were other stuff that you could get it from. I don't remember
small little other things.
So you have the small action and the big action buttons. The big action buttons were really cool.
Yes.
Small actions just like close gates when people were trying to go through. They
open up a shortcut.
Yeah, exploded the side of the map so someone would hit the wall and explode, and then you'd have a respawn time. And it did feel like your respawn time was more than the computers, for sure.
There's also like helicopters that could drop down exploding barrels. You could like have parts of the map explode. Like there's one really cool one on one of the maps, and this is probably my favorite explosion to trigger. It's right before a giant U-turn, and there's a building onto the left, and you trigger it, and it triggers like 6 different building explosions.
Oh yeah.
And then the last one explodes out.
I know.
That was like the coolest one to get the timing right on, because it was so cinematic. Honestly, just poof.
And then you'd see that cinematic because it'd be slow-mo fuck while you're going around a U-turn, and you're like, motherfucker.
Yeah, you had to be basically in the middle of turning before you triggered the ability, or it wouldn't turn you. You would keep going with what you were doing.
Yeah. So, the other thing, the big ones were fucking sweet. So these are the map-changing ones. These break the map and change it to what they want it to be.
They can be just like a giant thing, like one that happens on like 3 different maps is the giant dump truck, the giant yellow Tonka truck that gets drove through the map.
Yeah, it's on a helicopter, and the helicopter like flies it over. There's a couple of them. The one I think of is under the bridge. There's like a bridge with it's covered, and it flies the fucking dump truck through the fucking bridge.
Yeah,
and anyone who gets in its way is dead.
Or the sewer one's really hard to dodge because it's just coming straight at everyone.
My favorite was there was one where the map, it had like a pin needle, not the pin needle,
the giant
space
tower?
needle.
Yeah,
and it fell.
Yes.
And if you're in 4th place, that is the best time to do it. It will knock the fuck out of everyone in first.
It kills all 3 of them, and then it goes on to this. You ramp up through the middle of
you start riding on roofs.
Yep, and you jump from roof to roof to roof, and then there's explosions on the side. So if anyone still is ahead of you, you can trigger an explosion while they're in air, and their car just goes over to the right and left.
Another thing we said that was annoying in this game, though, is a lot of the times explosion gets triggered while we're in front of people. Yes. But if the computers are in front of people, they don't trigger nearly as often.
No.
And there were some times. I did see it occasionally. Yeah. But not nearly as much as if I went under something, I'm fucking dead.
Seriously, if you were ahead of someone and someone was right behind you, you pretty much had to assume that 2 out of every 3 traps is going to get triggered.
Yep.
And I think that's about what I averaged.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep a tally of it for that reason of telling you guys. But yeah, it's literally like 2 out of every 3 traps that you pass is going to get triggered.
Yeah, unless you're triggering them and stopping them from getting triggered.
So it's really important to memorize the maps.
Yeah.
And memorize where the traps are so you can be like, I have to be on the right side this time, the left side this time. I have to look out for the helicopter.
Yeah, it really super annoying. And a lot of them are like hard to avoid stuff.
Oh, some of them, yeah. Especially the one in the construction zone or the canyon where the bridge falls down onto the track.
Yes. You can do it twice because there's 2 hanging things on there. Yeah. That's a great one again if you're in 3rd or 4th place.
Yeah.
Trigger that and it kills the first 2
It one's so hard to dodge though because it actually covers the entire track for a full second. Yeah, and then it lifts up on one edge.
Yeah, so you have to go and hope that you're not too close to it to die from that edge.
Yeah.
But the explosions were cool. The other thing we didn't like were the racing mechanics itself. Like, the drifting was really good.
Drifting was actually incredible.
Was actually, driving was really good.
The only thing that I hated is it seemed like it really punished you for drifting.
Yeah.
Like it slowed you down so much.
But it didn't seem to be the same with the computers.
No.
Because they were doing it perfectly.
Yeah,
because there's also no fucking difficulty setting on this fucking game.
That was the one thing we both hated the most. Yeah. There is absolutely no way to change any difficulty settings.
Yeah. And this is one of those games where you're not like jumping in and you're good at it. This is one where you have to like, I'm getting what I have to do. I have to drift here. If I don't drift here, I lose first place. Like, that's this type of game. It's all, you have to do things perfectly, and the time trials are the fucking worst.
Yeah.
But you have to do everything at a perfect fucking time. Otherwise, you lose your first place.
The time trials, you legitimately have to hit every turn perfectly, never let go of the gas, and never get in an accident.
Yep, and it's really fucking hard.
So fucking hard.
Yeah, and just the computers were way better than you.
Yeah.
And that was all. I had to retry races like 3 or 4 fucking times just to get second place.
Oh, yeah.
But I always went for first. Like, I was the first place in everything except for the time trials. After the first 4, I was like, fuck these things. They're so fucking annoying. They take too long.
I don't think I first placed any of the time trials just because I was just like, fuck this.
Yeah, I got 3 of them I didn't first place. So if I go back, I only need to do 3 more. But I'm not going to do it because they're fucking annoying.
Yeah, it's seriously like... Especially on those, I did some of those 10 to 15 times and still haven't perfected it.
So they're annoying because there's a cheat you can do with them. If you stop at the beginning, so you get this little boost at the beginning of races. You know how you're already driving usually, unless the helicopter one?
Yeah.
So you get a little boost. So you have to stop and turn around and then go backwards. And it speeds you up, right? And then eventually it spawns you going the right way because there's a little red line you have to cross to actually start the timer.
That's weird.
Yeah, so if you don't cross that line, if you stop fast enough and you go backwards, you don't start the timer, so you can gain speed. And when it respawns you, it spawns you at the speed you were going.
Oh.
So you could get like a full second off your time by doing that.
Probably a couple seconds.
Just about a second.
Just a full second.
Literally a full second. I was 1 second away in one race, and that was all I got.
Wow,
so
that's insane.
Yeah, and Some of them you can't do that. The sports car ones, they don't brake fast enough, and you can't turn around fast enough.
Yeah.
It'll cross the red line every time before you can do that. So, but those one you don't really need to because they get acceleration much faster than the other cars.
I gotta say, the thing that I found the most fun was not the airstrikes, but the airstrike raids or whatever.
The ones where you come back.
Oh
where you can shoot the
my gosh!
Back. Yeah.
So I'll tell you guys a little bit about the airstrike first.
Oh my fucking god!
So,
I hated these. Some of these were fucking annoying.
Some of them were. This is another one where you had to go like full speed. You couldn't slow down, or you were gonna get fucked.
Which is bullshit too, because they didn't even count your score, even if you slowed down and they all missed. Like, it was such a fucking horseshit thing.
But you didn't lose your multiplier, at least.
Yeah.
So on these ones, what was happening was you're driving, and there's helicopters flying over you, and they are shooting missiles down at you. It'll show a missile lock, thing going around.
Yeah, a bullshit missile lock that after it locks, it still fucking moves.
It still moves, yep.
Fucking
So
bullshit.
if you try to slow down to dodge one, the missile will come towards you faster.
And then and if you don't die, it'll say, "Oh, too slow, bro."
Yeah.
No points, and you have to beat a certain number of points to get first place. It's like 35 grand.
Yeah. And
Fucking annoying as shit. You get a multiplier with it for 1 times. After you successfully go 3 times.
Yep.
It goes to 2 times, another 3 to 3 times, another 3 to 4. And ideally, you have to be at fucking 4 to get these done.
And it starts out with 3 missiles, then goes up by 1 missile every single time.
No, it starts at 3 for the first 2, and then it's 5 for the next one, and then 7 for the fucking next one. It's fucking annoying.
But yeah, this one, if you could keep up full speed the entire time, it wasn't too crazy.
No, it took me, the longest for one to get first place was 20 minutes.
And then the other version of the airstrike was one where you actually could launch on missiles back of the helicopter. You had a certain time limit to try to do that.
Yeah.
This one was probably the easiest of all the challenges, in my opinion.
Because all you had to do was avoid them to get your...
action meter up?
Yeah, action meter up to full.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to do it on 1. I don't even know why they had that option.
I don't know either.
You can't beat it on 1.
No.
You have to do multiple.
If you did, because the action meter, you have 3 action points. You have to build it up to 3 to use the big power up.
Yeah.
So you get 2 basic ones and then the big one that uses all 3 points.
The thing has 12 health, I think.
Yep.
And using an action, the highest one does 4 health damage.
Yep.
And the lowest one does 1.
Yes.
And there's no fucking point to the 1.
No.
Because they take too long to fire the missiles, so you're never literally doing anything to the helicopter.
And the great thing was you could actually legit wait until it was about to hit you and then hit the button and send all the missiles right back at the helicopter.
Oh, and you don't get you have a time limit.
Yep.
So on this one, the other helicopter one, you didn't.
It was 2.5 minutes.
Which is not, well, no, 140 was the last one, I think, because I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. It took me so long.
Oh, that one wasn't bad.
Yeah. It's annoying. It's annoying that they put a time limit on these ones, but not the other ones.
Yeah.
So, because the other ones were all based on points.
Then there was Survival, which had a bunch of big rigs that were lobbing explosive barrels. There was blue barrels that slowed you down and shock blasted you away.
Yeah.
And then red barrels that wrecked you.
If you got hit by too many, they would kill you.
Yeah. And if you got hit by a wrecked barrel, it would kill you.
One would just
and you would lose all your multiplier. Which, if you lost your multiplier, might as well restart the race.
Yeah, well, it just depends where you lost it.
Yeah.
So in the first 4, if I lost it in the first 4, I'm restarting. I can't fucking do it.
Nope.
In the next couple, it's not too bad.
And these, so you have 45 seconds of time, and every time you pass a big rig, you get a certain amount of time back, but it starts scaling back the longer it goes until you run out of time, and then it goes into sudden death.
And then you have 1 life. And this is another 0.1. You have to beat the top score, which some of them was 150, 160,000.
Oh, these were 35,000.
The first one was.
Oh, yeah.
By the end of it, it was over 100.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It was 150, I believe, because the multipliers were bigger. Yeah. You got way more points. The first pass was 10,000.
That's true.
And that's on 1 times multiplier, so...
And I think the later maps were honestly easier.
Yeah.
Because they were just way more wide, open tracks.
For sure. Those ones were a little annoying because you're sitting there and they're never the fucking same. Somehow they wrote these fucking rigs to never do the same thing. And sometimes I'd wreck because the rig would literally, all right, he's on my side, so I'm just going to push him against the wall.
Yep. There was that, or the thing that sucked was there was also a bunch, there was between each big rig, there was like 4 other racers.
Oh yeah, they were
that were just
they were
terrible.
eating the explosions or whatever, but that still shockwave you.
Well, that it would either shockwave you or it would blind you.
Yeah.
And you'd drive through where they're
A
like,
red barrel right
and then
there.
hit the red barrel, and you're like,
the smoke
fuck!
is insane. Yeah, the view in this game was bad.
Explosions could really fuck you up.
Yeah, the time trials we already talked about, fucking annoying. Don't do them; they'll just piss you off. They did to me every
Seriously.
time. Like this is the one game, one of these games where I'm just screaming at the TV because I'm like, "This fucking horseshit! I can't fucking do a thing! I can't fucking drive! I can't fucking do this!"
Yeah.
And all these trials are easier if you get better cars, but that's the only thing the better cars are good for.
Yeah.
Like, because the racing part, all the cars scale with you.
Yep.
And that's an annoying thing. So Mario Kart did it really well, where there's a handicap if you're in last place.
Well,
you get better abilities and you get more speed.
That and Mario Kart also had it where you could choose 50cc, 100cc, 150cc,
So that way
and
you
200cc.
can
So it had
build your
4 difficulty
difficulties.
settings.
Yeah. And the 50 is really slow.
Oh, yeah.
If you've played like a few times, but that's why it builds you up to teach you how to do this right the next time. So in this one, you're just fucked from the beginning.
Yeah, this game, it seems really like the first couple of races, you're just getting the hang of it and stuff. You start like getting forward. You're like, all right, I'm placing decently in a lot of these things. The first like 3 episodes, it gets a little bit harder after that. After episode 6, it dramatically shifts to a harder game.
Because all those cars switch to sports cars.
Yeah, they go to Class A cars. And then after that, it's once it gets to episode 9, it gets even harder.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
There's 12 episodes, by the way.
Yeah, I ended up first placing every race. Everything but the time trials. I first placed everything but that. But it was a long process. Like, I think I put 25, 30 hours into this fucking game just getting first place on stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, I get it. You want your game to be replayable. But the only point, by the way, in unlocking the better cars, it seems, because you could have won with the shittiest car.
Yep.
Like, it's really weird. But the point is, you unlock those cars from online multiplayer as well.
Oh, okay.
So you don't actually have any cars. If you just want to play online when you buy this game, you have nothing.
Wow.
There's no buy system online. You have to do it in the story and then play the online, which it holds you captive. Like, that's not a good way to make your game.
There's a DLC pack for a few cars, and then there's another DLC pack that's unlock everything for $5, or unlock all cars for $3.
So you have to pay money to unlock their shit. Yeah, that's not...
Pay to win.
Yeah, it's not a good way to make your game. And especially for the online portion, you want to have those almost be completely separate entities.
Yeah.
Like the Halo, we go back to that, the multiplayer, way different from the story, right?
Yes.
You didn't have to play the story at all. You can just play the fucking multiplayer.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense to me because then you're giving like the story crowd their little thing and the multiplayer crowd their little thing.
Yeah.
You're dividing the groups and you're giving them what they want.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. In this game, no. Not bad idea fucking making it so you can't play online unless
I feel like a lot of
story.
these games, like every racing game kind of does this in a way. Well, where like you have to like play the game a ton to build up your car.
Yeah.
Like even the Need for Speed games, you can play them online, but you're going to be playing with the basic cars, and if you have to grind to get money.
Yeah.
And sync up your car.
Which is what you want. That grind is where you get people to play a long time. And this one you can't grind, you have to do story. And some people do not like playing these games for the story. They want to play online.
And that was the kind of the thing that sucks is like you needed a certain amount of stars to unlock each next car.
Yeah.
But the only way to get more, or not stars, credits.
Yeah.
The only way to get more credits was to get higher places.
Yeah, first place, you can never get better than that. So.
So if you got first place on something, you can't get any more credits.
Yeah, I only have 1 car I need to unlock because I have 3 first places to do.
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4. So it wouldn't be too bad, but it's just not worth it. It's not worth the fucking 40 credits I need to unlock this fucking car. It's probably not even that good.
Probably not.
Half of them are the cars are trucks too, and I never understood. They have the worst acceleration in the game.
Yes.
The worst.
But they would.
Immediately in first fucking place.
Every
and I'm like,
time.
what? How? Your acceleration is shit. My acceleration is the highest it can be.
So the car I was using at the end was the Elite 510 or 410, and it had I think 6s or 7s in every category. So drift, speed, acceleration, and strength. And
strength doesn't seem to matter.
It did on the survival and
Even then, I would use the strongest cars and die the same amount that I did with the other.
I felt like it was a little bit different.
Maybe a little, but it didn't like between 1 and 8. It doesn't seem that there's that big of a difference.
No, there wasn't. Speed and acceleration. Speed definitely seemed to be the craziest difference between 1 and 7.
Yeah, for sure. But
speed.
Also that speed, if you don't have acceleration, literally you're fucked.
Yeah.
Unless you're a computer, you're fucked. I don't know how the computers did it.
So I would be using a 7 speed acceleration car and be driving as fast as I can, and these 2 acceleration speed trucks would just pass me.
And you're like, okay, how'd they do that? Because drafting didn't give you more speed in this game.
It did.
It did?
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It just increased your abilities.
Increased your abilities and gave you a little speed.
Oh, I didn't notice the speed at all.
You had to be doing it for quite a while.
No, well,
like 5 to 10 seconds to get a really big speed boost.
Yeah, that's not really possible in this game. So
you could find ways to do it.
There's too many turns.
Yeah, you'd have to do it on those big stretches, or stretches where there were like slight turns where you could still draft behind them.
Yeah, it was just super annoying in that regard. That the racing got so fucking difficult, and they were scaling too much.
Yes.
And again, the first 3 places would always remain the same.
Yeah.
And the last 3 would always remain the same. But the last 3 were always 1 second away from first place. I just don't understand.
It seriously sometimes was like ridiculous. And like when somebody else would get first, they'd be 13 seconds ahead. When you would get first, someone would be 0.05 seconds behind you.
Or I'd be 6 seconds ahead, and within 2 seconds, they'd be 1.2 seconds
Yeah, seriously. And then they would crash you.
How the fuck did they catch me? Because they do the perfect turns. Again, no difficulty settings makes it so everything does a perfect turn, and you're the only one who can't.
Yep. Which... it really sucked because you had to be doing so much drifting and drafting and stuff to keep your action meter up, because every time someone passed, you had to be ready to kill them in an instant.
Yep. And the big ones were the important ones on certain like final laps. That's whenever I use the big ones, only on final laps, because that's when it's the most important. There's one where you go through a warehouse and there's 2 different giant explosions and it shifts everything on the map from one side to the other. And every time I was in that, it would trigger. Oh, and that was the other thing too, the shortcuts. There were some like shortcuts that were also traps. The nuclear ones.
Like the nuclear ones, the gas stations and stuff like that.
That was actually, those were funny because the gas stations weren't too bad. You could drive through the explosion and not die. The nuclear ones, you drive through it, you're dead because it falls on top of you.
Yeah. The gas stations, only 2 times did I ever make it through a gas station.
Oh, really? I used to do
because
it all the time.
Every single time I tried, as soon as I got to the entrance, explosion. Which if you were at the entrance and exploded, you would die.
For the most part, they exploded right before I got to the entrance. So
fucking
I got through
sucked.
fairly easily. Those weren't too bad, but the nuclear ones were annoying because you're like, I gotta hope the person behind me isn't close enough to trigger this, or I have to hope they don't have a full meter. Yeah. Because that was a full meter. And I always got it triggered to the computers, luckily. But even then, again, you trigger it, and they're still fucking right behind you.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for gameplay.
Yeah, there's pretty much not anything else, really.
Yeah, I mean, everything's pretty straightforward in this game.
At the end of every episode, there's an elite race.
Yeah.
And you have to get 3rd to unlock the next episode.
Yeah, but you can here's the thing, too. It's weird, because I thought that it almost feels like they shouldn't have put a retry in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost like if you lose, you have to start over, which would have been really shitty.
Yes, it would have
been. It's like you can just retry if you're in like last place in the second lap or something and you don't think you can catch them.
Yep.
Just retry.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, it got to the point where there was really no fear in you not making it in first place.
Oh, yeah.
Which is weird. It feels weird because you can't do that in Mario Kart.
No.
So, all right, well, let's move on to our next segment.
It's story time. Let's get started.
So the story in this game's pretty non-existent, but it's there.
It's there for what this game is. I think it's creative and it's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
Besides that, though, there's nothing much else to it. Besides like the little on this episode, next episode.
Yeah, my one note for this would be like on this episode, and then show like a behind the scenes, almost like, what do you mean we don't have any money to pay the racers? That would have been cool to see, or like
just some like funny little clips and stuff. That
would have been cool, like a manager on the phone or something being an asshole.
or them setting up an explosion and it goes off to her. Fuck, now we're gonna start over.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea, I think. But instead, they just had on the next episode, this episode, and it would show like some of the explosions you could do, some of the
Think
big
of
ones.
what Michael Bay jerks off to,
Yeah.
and that's what the preview of every episode is. It's just explosion, explosion, big truck, explosion,
Yeah.
fast car, explosion. Explosion!
Yeah, I would have loved to see some NPCs in this, just some random characters hanging around, because the NPCs are all cars.
Or like even like more stuff with like the show, or like talking to like the director of the show,
Yeah,
or
or
like
the
what the show is
ratings or
going to be
something.
like, because this is a TV show to get on a show.
It would have been cool if they did like a rating system for how many explosions and how many first place
Yeah.
you had or something. Like, he had 17 explosions in this race. Ratings are through the fucking roof.
Which, I mean, they did keep track of explosions, or it did keep track of a lot of that
Yeah.
stats and stuff.
Yeah, but
it
apply
would
those
be
somewhere.
cool to apply them
Yeah.
to the story.
Yeah, that would have been a smart move. I think they really lacklustered the story in this game. They had a lot of opportunity, and they just didn't follow through. But maybe the second game... Is there a second game?
I don't think there's a second one.
If they're making a second one, they might do that.
Yeah.
You learn your lesson from the first one, because it's still a fun game, I
Oh, yeah.
guess. But just, they could have done more. There's no real, like, as you're moving through the levels, there's no...
There's not a feel of different levels.
Yeah, like, there's no point. It's like, this is episode 1. You might as well just name them all episode 0. There's really, like, zero feel that episode 1 was any different from episode fucking 12, besides the racing is a little harder.
Even all the different episodes sometimes had some of the same tracks.
Yeah, like there were like 4 tracks and they just recycled them and changed their layout a little bit for each episode.
Yeah. And then you could trigger the big explosions to go on tracks that you've already been on before on these levels. And it was one of those things where I was just, that was kind of a little lackluster for me. I will say, like, the way this game is, like, with the explosions and all of it being set up for a TV show, that was really cool in a way to make this make sense for, like, a realistic kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, they rented out one part of the town, and that's all they could use
Yeah.
the race in, and so they had to just change the race up a little bit. So, and I didn't mind that as much, but still, I was like, yeah, it's not like Mario Kart again, which has a unique racing and stuff like that, and unique areas that you can see stuff on the sides. Like,
yeah. Well, and, like, the cool thing is, like, you even saying that, like, them renting out an area.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did for The Matrix. I think it was Reloaded or Revolutions, that freeway scene. They
Yeah.
actually built that freeway for the movie.
oh, nice.
And then, so they triggered all the explosions. Like, a lot of that was real effects and shit. Like, obviously, the flying and shit, and the slowing down time wasn't. But there was a lot of, like, realistic, actual explosions
slowing
and
down time
actually
was
being on
real.
a freeway. And they actually had, like, Trinity driving on the motorcycle at that speeds with,
Nice.
like, outer helmet.
Yeah, that's great. They actually slowed down time. They had a mini black hole of sorts, and as you know, the closer you get to an event horizon, the slower time moves around you. So the outside time is moving at a certain speed, but you're moving at a much slower pace. But looking within it, you seem like you're going the same speed, but people looking at you from the outside can tell you're going way fucking slow. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew that. And then they just banished the black hole to like the shadow realm.
Damn.
So it got really weird, and the black hole, I tried to sue them for some litigation money. It got weird, guys. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Yeah. Again, the story's not really... I wanted more. I wanted, like, little quips. I wanted, like, a character to hate in this game. I wanted more story.
Yeah. Or even, like, the director to say something, like...
Yeah.
Or, like, some, like, news person following your way through the TV show would have been hilarious. Like, ooh, Gooey Magoo got third this time.
Yeah.
Will he catch up to second place? Will he catch up to McGee or Rock? Or which I thought that was funny. There was a McGee character in this.
Oh, nice. No, I didn't even look at the names. Mine was Vixen was the number one person always.
Vixen was one of my number ones too.
Fuck that guy. He was always the one who crashed me, and I'm like, fuck you, Vixen.
Yes.
Fuck, kill you.
Vixen and Lone Wolf, I think, were the two that were always
not
getting
for
me.
Vixen and someone else was for me. I don't remember who the second guy was, though.
But it was funny. I think I didn't
always
even
third.
notice it until like episode 4, and then all of a sudden someone wrecked me, and it was like wrecked by McGee, and I was like, "What? That's cool."
Wrecked by McGee. Yeah, I wanted more. I think they could have done more. They had the
they really
ability to, but they just decided not to. Because this game, honestly, is not that big. I think it's 19 gigs, 20 gigs?
Something like that.
Yeah,
it's not huge.
It's not. And so they could have put more into it. But,
Yeah.
You know, Disney, it's an arcade game, too. It wasn't a full release, I don't think.
I don't. I think it was.
No, it started on the Xbox Live Arcade.
Oh, okay.
And then they moved it to Steam and I believe PlayStation Store.
I think PlayStation also had it.
Yeah, because I bought it on Steam. The Steam version is way better, I think.
Probably
because
I played it
obviously
on Xbox.
Xbox 360 version is going to look like shit.
Yeah,
compared to anything on a computer.
Yes.
So if you guys are going to buy it on Steam. It looked amazing. The explosions were fucking on
I think
point.
I did see that they actually did have, if you have an Xbox Series S or X playing it on that, it did upscale it.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't actually do that, even though I have an S.
But you could have. You could have. Yeah. This game is rated E for everyone, but that's bullshit because there's no fucking difficulty. It's only rated for pro gamers, pretty much. That's another thing that really annoyed me is, again, put a fucking difficulty in there. Make it so we're building up our, like, confidence in playing, because I wouldn't want to play online. I'd be like, I'm going to fucking suck.
Probably not.
Yeah, because I bet everyone online has been playing forever.
Yes.
And they're probably, like, drifting like crazy. Yeah. They're beating the computers no matter what. The people I watched, because I watched the YouTube videos on how to beat the time trials, because I'm like, what the fuck does this guy do? Where is he turning? Because I can't fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
And because I'd be, like, 5 seconds behind on this one. And I'm like, how? How are you supposed to make up that 5 seconds? I'm doing I didn't hit a wall. I drifted perfectly each time. I never got any, the explosions never tilted me in any way. And this guy is like, well, you got to be exactly right here when you're going through this spot. If you're not exactly right here, you lose 0.25 seconds. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Too fucking much.
Oh, man. That sounds like there was this racing game on I think it was like on the PlayStation Portable. I think it was like Wipeout or something like that. It was a futuristic racing game, and it's one of the hardest racing games known to man.
Yeah.
This one is underneath it a little bit.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
For me, anyways. Yeah. Like, I was able to play those ones too.
I think I've learned I don't like racing games. Like, I've never really cared for them. They're not that fun for me.
See, I've always played racing games. Like, I've played every single Need for Speed game that's ever came out. Even the shitty ones. I got rid of all the shitty ones because they're awful.
Need for Speed 2 Rocks Revenge?
I even played I even played one of the Fast and the Furious games, even though that was shit. I've played a lot of the Forza games.
Forza's always good.
Forza's great, honestly. And I'm super stoked when the new Hot Wheel game comes out.
Oh, Hot Wheel. I saw a new Forza game that looks insane.
It's coming out on Game Pass, so I already pre-installed it.
Look fucking amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I think this racing game had a lot of bones.
Yeah.
But then after that, they really didn't try too hard. So I guess why don't we get into our last segment, because we're done with story. There's nothing left.
No, there isn't.
So let's go
I guess at the end of the story.
Oh, yeah. There's like a lead up into the DLC.
So, yeah, it goes to you're on the podium, and then all of a sudden...
By the way, you're not on the podium. The fucking car is.
Yes.
Put some people in there.
So you're on the podium, and then a bunch of explosions start happening, and then the director's like, what's going on? What's happening? That wasn't supposed to happen yet. Blah, 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 blah. And then more and more stuff, and then you see some cars with this unique symbol on their vehicle, and they're like, oh no, they're here? Why are they here? Oh my god, what's going on? And then it kind of just like cuts out, and that's the lead up to the DLC, and it's like, buy the Onslaught DLC.
Yeah, and you're like, no.
Which neither of us did.
Yeah, wouldn't do it.
I don't think I would,
just came
honestly.
In the main fucking game at this point. It's 10 years old. Yeah, and then that's a really silly thing to do, again, in my opinion. Don't lead up to your next... Like, they put that in knowing they were going to charge people for more content.
Yeah.
That's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
You don't do that. Do not do that.
Well, I'm okay with it with, like, certain things. Like, I liked a lot of the games, like, that have, like, season passes. Like,
oh, yeah, sure.
Far Cry 6 is going to have, like, DLC
like
that they're already...
Halo, I think, was one of the first people to do, like, a season pass. You pay $50 and you get all the DLC that comes out for the next year or whatever. Yeah, that makes sense. But this game purposely put in a thing that leads up to something that we're working on.
That's true.
Right then. They could have just released it with the fucking game. They chose not to, so that you'd pay more money for it.
It's almost as bad. There's a game that I've debated putting on our list, but it does this exact same thing. It actually doesn't put the ending of the game in the main story.
Oh, nice.
You have to pay for the DLC to finish the story.
Oh, that was, which game was that? That
Azura's
was
Wrath.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. There was another one that fucking EA did. Of course they fucking did. Where they didn't release the end of the game. You had to buy it.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the Assassin's Creeds or...
It might have been one of the Assassin's Creed.
They did. It was such a fucking stupid thing to do, and then they ended up releasing it for free because they got so much backlash from it. Like, you can't do that. You can't release a game and say, you only get the ending if you pay more money. You only paid $60, you're another 40 would... Why would you care?
Yeah, and I mean, have DLC, but have it be... I
Extra.
I like DLC that's separate from the main story.
Yeah.
But has...
It can be a continuation.
But it can interact.
Yeah.
But separate from the main story. And if it's a continuation, I'm going to assume you planned for the story to be longer and you're releasing it. Which, if the story's 30 hours and you would release another 10 hours later, I'm probably going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man did that.
I mean, this is like we've talked about before, my buddy's company, the company he works for, Deck 9, when they release a game, they released episodes.
Yes.
So you have to pay for each episode.
Yes.
And it ends up being like, I think it's like 15 or $10 an episode. So it ends up being the full price of a game.
A lot of them, I think were $10 when they came out.
Yeah, so like then that's just that telltale sign, and that's okay because you're not paying $60 for the game and then $20 for the DLC to continue the game, then another $20 on top of that. Like
the only thing I hated about those was it was like 2 hours an episode.
Yeah, that's a poor idea in my opinion too. I think you just release a full content game. Like it's weird to make it a season. Yeah,
and all the Telltale games, every single one that I've ever bought, I waited till it was done.
Yeah.
And then they always had a bundle deal package. Buy the entire season for $16.
Yeah.
Done.
Rather than paying $89, doing it.
Like, I'm sorry, but
The Walking Dead, the first two, like the great Telltale game. You guys should all play that if you haven't. The first two came out and... they did that whole release, and then it ended up on Game Pass for free, so I played it, because I didn't know if I would like it or not. And I really did like it, and the third one didn't release, and I ended up buying an episode, because I was like, this is just so fucking good. The story is so good that I want to buy an episode, so that's what you have to do, is like, you end up making that money on the back end if your game is good. But
I guess the one good thing about those kind of games for me is you paying $10 to see if you like the game.
Yeah.
You get a 2-hour... kind of window to be like, this game's for me, this game's not for me. And honestly, if you don't get my attention in the first 2 hours of the game, I'm not fucking finishing this game.
Yeah, it's just like reading a book when people are like, did you make it to the third book? I'm like, no, the first two were shitty. We gotta get to the third, bro.
But you have to read the first two because they have so much information that comes out in the sixth one.
Yeah.
But the story doesn't get good till the third one. But then the fifth one also sucks.
Yeah. It's ridiculous to say like, well, why didn't you give it this much of a chance? Like, no, I'm sorry, that's too much of a fucking chance.
Yeah.
That's giving too much credit to that fucking author, that fucking game developer, everything.
I've had a lot of arguments with friends recently about that with like TV shows. Like, if I don't like the first few episodes of a TV show, they get mad at me that I won't
sometimes
keep going.
I understand, like, The Office was a hard one. That was a hard one.
I can't get into The Office.
First season is a hard season to get into, but after the first season, everything just gets so much better.
That's what everyone says, but I mean, like, even that, like, I've seen episodes of later seasons, and of course, I've heard every single meme, so I know every joke in The Office that has ever been said. Same with SpongeBob. I've never watched that, but I know every joke and know every meme.
SpongeBob was great, actually. The writing was on point for SpongeBob. They did such a good
job. Like, I don't know, like, I couldn't watch an entire season of a show. Like, for me, that's just, like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Like, it's so hard. Like, I even, like, there was a 6-episode TV show, and I was, like, super into this one. It was an Orlando Bloom one with Cara Delevingne, Carnival Row on Amazon Prime.
I don't know.
And it was this, like, fantasy world where all these, like, fey creatures were living with humans, and there was a lot of, like, crossbreeding and stuff going on.
A lot of crossbreeding. I see why you like the show now.
And it was really interesting concept because it was, like, old-time London.
Yeah.
Like, with, like, old wars and, like, detective stories and stuff, but also with, like, all this fantasy elements. And it was, like, really interesting. But the first fucking 2.5, 3 episodes were the slowest fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, nothing really in it.
That's why you have to give these that 2-hour window. So that's their 2-hour window.
Yeah.
Because it takes time to develop the characters into a likable thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know if you're like this character until you spend 2-3 episodes really getting that analytical part of them.
And I would say for me, honestly, it probably is. I have a 2 to 3 hour window typically on things.
Yeah.
Like if I don't like it, I don't like it. I did that with Game of Thrones. I did that with The Office. I almost did that with Community, but all my best friends were like, "Get to episode 6, the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
It'll change your life."
And it was good.
And
it was really
it's
good.
one of my all-time favorite TV shows.
So it takes some time with games, especially. That's why you want to catch people in the first 2 hours of the game. That's why when they release early releases are all like early releases up to this point in the game. So Mass Effect did that with Andromeda.
Yeah.
The first 2 hours are really well done. Yeah. And then when they release the full game, that's when people are like, "Oh shit!"
And see, that's kind of something that me and Scott have talked about in other episodes. We like the games that you start out at the most powerful you can be with the best things you can be.
Yeah, because then it shows you, like, when they take it away, you're like, that's what I could be at the end of the fucking game. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love that in Dragon Age.
One of our next racing games, when we do go back to racing games, we're actually going to do a Need for Speed game that has an amazing story.
Oh, nice.
And you actually start out in, like, the best car in the game, and you're in this race, and someone sabotages your car, and then the cops pick you up, and then you have to start from scratch building up all your shit
and
back.
then you have to kill the cops, and it gets really weird. This game gets really racy too.
There's no, because of the black guy coming at you always.
No, racy.
Yeah,
it's racy.
Oh, racing. It's so stupid.
All right, well, why don't we go on to our next segment?
Yes.
Worf, or nah? What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say Worf. I think this game has a really great concept. I think this game is a lot of fun. There is no story there, and it gets difficult as hell, which is why I'm not fully giving you a full recommend to buy this game, because I think it's like $20 on Steam or something. But honestly, like, I think if you enjoy racing games, you don't mind having to work hard for it. This is a really cool concept, and if you liked Burnout Mario Kart style games, this might be a game for you. And this was really well done with a lot of the things that they did in it. Just the difficulty spike in this game is really what fucks everything up, and the AI being ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a nah. I don't like racing games. It's hard to get me into racing games, and this was not, like, the explosions were cool, changing the courses, but it's all stuff I've seen before. It's all stuff that wasn't like game-breaking, game-changing to me. The cars weren't game-breaking, game-changing, and I don't like that either. Sometimes, like, at the end of a game, you want to feel the most powerful.
Yeah.
You want the best car that no one else can have, but then everyone else fucking has it. So I'm gonna have to say nah on this one. Didn't have fun playing it, was too angry at it, screamed at my computer too many times. Had to sit down and, like, namaste myself back to good health. So if you want to rage out and, like, have a really bad jerk off session afterwards, you go right ahead. You play this game, but I can't recommend it to you guys. Well, we hope you like that episode, everyone.
What a great way to end it.
What a great way to end it. Next week game is
Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori and the Blind Forest. We already started playing, and this game is fucking, like, beautiful.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
We're so excited to talk about that one. And then we had a suggestion come in, and we're so ready to play it.
Oh, God.
I'm so excited, guys.
Are we doing that before Dream Daddy or after Dream Daddy?
No, after.
Okay.
We've got the next couple of games, like, set pretty much, but we're going to be playing Subverse, a hentai game. My dream has come true, finally. Shout out to my buddy, who will remain nameless because he doesn't want his name said, because everyone's going to know he likes hentai games if I say it.
Well, and he said that he's just heard a lot about it. He's never actually played
He's full
it.
of shit.
We don't know.
He's jerking off right now playing it.
With our anime talk we had after, I'm sure he's played at least one.
We looked up some reviews just for a quick thing on this game, and one of them was like, this game's really cool. You can play with one hand, leaving the other hand free for jerking off.
It said for other things in the review, because it has to be still tame for review purposes.
Oh, God, it was so fucking funny, though. It made me laugh so hard.
Oh, God.
That's such a good fucking review, guy. Whoever put that, you're my hero.
This game is a mix between, like, Galaga, Galaxian, and Final Fantasy Tactics with interactive sex scenes.
Yeah, so you get to make yourself feel good and make them feel good. Yeah. So we're excited to play that one. We're delving into
I'm a little worried, but
we've never delved into that realm before.
No.
I've never played a game like that.
I've really never
very,
played.
Very curious
Like-
if I'm going to come out here and say, yeah, the porn was really good. Gameplay was shit.
What's the dirtiest game you've ever played?
I don't know. Dead or Alive is a pretty dirty one.
Yeah, I guess.
That's skimpy without being too skimpy kind of deal. I mean, Mass Effect. There's all these sex scenes in Mass Effect.
The Witcher has some sex scenes.
Yeah,
I guess that's one of the dirtiest ones.
There's like romance scenes in all RPGs.
Far Cry.
So yeah, Far Cry. So I don't know. Those are pretty dirty. As in, there was like a 2-minute sex scene. That's it.
Yeah.
Where it showed literally nothing but boobs. Because that's what sex shows. It's just the boobs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I guess that's probably the dirtiest things I've played too.
Yeah.
I can't think of really Grand Theft Auto. And then you go into a strip club or whatever.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto. You see him it was so funny. One of my buddies. Sorry, the story is weird, but I gotta tell it now.
Okay.
So in Grand Theft Auto, there's a part in 5 where you go into Trevor's trailer and he's fucking some girl from behind. And
I forgot.
Yeah, and that's really funny because my buddy's like, yeah, he's fucking her in the ass. I'm like, why is he just fucking her in the ass? And he's like, that's what they do when you fuck from behind. I'm like, what? That's not all you do when you fuck from behind. What are you talking about? He had no fucking clue. So that was really funny.
This is also the same friend who says that if you're with a girlfriend that you never jerk off anymore.
No, different.
Oh, it was a different friend? Oh, okay.
That's a different friend. If you have a girlfriend, you shouldn't jerk off, which he figured out was not true when he got a girlfriend. So there you go.
Fair.
All right, well, that was it, guys. We hope you enjoyed that last part of the show where we talked about jerking off and sex.
And porn.
And porn.
And hentai.
And hentai.
Tentacles.
Wait. We don't know if there's tentacles in this game. We haven't played it yet.
We don't know anything.
I was really going to play it last night. I was, but I didn't. I'm waiting.
I almost started it today, but I wanted to play more Ori.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye. I love you.